let's have one more song for the highway. One more song for that lonesome road. Let's have one more beer before we get us out of here. Let's have one more song for the road. You know I sure miss you, honey.
Now I'm a concrete cowboy going with the city.
Hello, how y'all doing? Welcome to another Tales from the Road here. Rooster here with you, or Cummins Cowboy, whatever you prefer. Anyway, this one goes back to way back in the day, back when we used to have be able to get a hazmat on our license without a FBI investigation. So I had my hazmat back on my first term with Navajo from what was that, between 2002 and 2005, somewhere in there. So anyway, I was up in Michigan, had to pick up a load on Friday. It was a hazmat load, a load of chemicals that were in these big plastic, tubs, and it was going down to U.S. Steel in Birmingham, Alabama on Monday. So anyway, so I went there to get, and got loaded. First of all, this guy's loading the trailer, and I'm watching him, sitting on the dock watching this guy in the forklift. He's like zoom, 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 zoom. All of a sudden he gets out, hands me, I sign my paperwork, hands me my bills and everything. I go and I look in the trailer, and I'm like, hey. I'm like, come here. I'm like, you see that? Like, dude, the trailer's half empty. It's like 40,000 pounds, on here, and the trailer's half empty. He's like, yeah? I'm like, how long have you been loading trailers? He's like, oh, I don't work in this department. I've never done it before. He's like, but they all went to lunch, so they just told me to load you up real quick and get you out of here. I'm like, that's what I thought. I said, let me explain something to you here. We got to have weight distribution over the tandems from the front to the back. I said, and this ain't going to work. So he unloaded it, and so I had to explain to him, single, double, So anyway, get the load all fixed and everything, so it's good to go. And so I called my dispatcher, and I said, hey, this load don't deliver in Birmingham till Monday. And I said, my brother lives right down there in Ohio, so I gotta go right through there. I said, can I just, go to my brother's for the weekend, and then go, I'll be down there Monday morning, I said, because I said, I got a secure lot. And my brother was a manager of a lumber yard at the time, and I would go in there, and he let me park my truck out back while I was visiting. So my dispatcher, she's like, well, not really supposed to let you do that with a hazmat load, but she's like, it's all right, go ahead. She's like, just make sure you keep an eye on it and everything. So I'm like, okay, So I get, anyway, I get down to Ohio, and I get to the lumber yard there, and both my brothers are there, and we're all standing around the back of the trailer, and my other brother goes, hey, he's like, you got some liquid running out of the back of your trailer. And I looked, and I'm like, oh no, like this is not good. Oh, so I called Navajo, and I'm like, hey, I got a hazmat leak. I said, whatever this stuff is running out of the back of the trailer, out of the drain holes. And they're like, oh my God, So, anyway, they're like, well, where are you at? So I told them So they called around, or they ended up calling the hazmat team from the Mansfield Fire Department to come out there. Because that was the closest hazmat team was over there. So, and that was like 15 minutes down the road. So they came out and they secured it, and they, you know, cleaned up the ground and everything. And, you know, of course, they went through my bills and went through the hazmat book to, you know, going the whole process for the hazmat cleanup, so they know what they're dealing with. And this stuff wasn't like really, it wasn't anything that was going to be like super nasty or, you know, corrosive or anything. So that was good. So they, you know, they got that all cleaned up, and they took the rags and put a bunch of absorbent rags all around the back of the trailer, and, you know, plugged up the holes and everything, because we couldn't figure out where the leak was coming from. So they said, well, this'll stop it, you know, from leaking out until you get there. And so I called Navajo, and they said, well, okay, we'll have to deal with it when we get down there. So anyway, I left on Sunday, headed to Birmingham, and I got down to U.S. Steel. Told them what was going on. They freaked out. So they're like, well, we're not going to touch it until we get a hazmat cleanup crew out here. You know. It's like, oh man. So anyway, we had to call around. We found another. It wasn't a fire department. It was an actual, like, hazmat cleanup company. You know, that was one of their specialties. So they came out with their trucks. We opened the doors, and of course, you know, there's a pool of this liquid all over the trailer. It was a mess. So they got it all cleaned up and everything, got it all out of there, and so we unloaded. So then it was clear to unload the trailer. So they unloaded the trailer, and come to find out, what had happened was one of the tubs in the very front, when they put the lid on, they put the lid on crooked, so it wasn't secured. So as it was, you know, bouncing up and down the road, the liquid was flying up out of the lid and run right down the trailer and out the drain plugs, you know. So who knows, I was probably spraying this stuff all the way from Michigan to Ohio and didn't even know it. But anyway, then so after that was all said and done, then we had to find a one of those washouts, like the tanker washouts that specialize in hazmat washouts. So found one of those places, had to go there and completely, you know, wash out the reefer, sanitize it and everything. So after it was all said and done, the load probably wasn't worth whatever they got paid for it, because they probably spent twice as much in you know, hazmat bills. I don't remember exactly now, but I know they're not cheap. So it ended up just one little simple mistake by somebody, and, you know, just turned into a big mess. Luckily, like I said, luckily the stuff wasn't real nasty, because it, you know, could have been a really, really bad situation, you know, when you got that. So anyway, but I don't even have a hazmat license anymore, so I don't have to deal with none of that stuff. So, but that's the story of the hazmat cleanup there. So, well, y'all take care. We'll talk to you next time.